mantra. Take it from there. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
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 Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Jaya Janaranjana.
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prajanaranjana.
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja
Haribo. So thank you very much for allowing me to serve you in the form of this seminar. Today is day 2. I hope everybody had a chance to do their homework. This is reading about the holy name as given by Srila Prabhupada, and another excerpt of a lecture given by His Holiness Chandramani Swami. Did everyone get a chance to do that?
I did mine.
Yay! Thank you. Very good. See, you get the maximum when you put the maximum into the seminar. So if you want to get something out of it, you have to put something into it. Okay, all right.
Do we express it now or later?
Yeah, we just be starting off with that. Yeah. So, what were your, let's put it this way, what were your recollections, what was meaningful, what were your takeaways of yesterday's discussion, and then we will come to your homework. What did you, Mother Prishni, you can start left to right.
I was just thinking of the homework. I had some kind of quotes and things like that. I was going to try to say about January Krishna. But I thank you for your seminar. And it's nice that you know how to say the things in a nice way. And what I can remember it was very nice. Yes, I appreciate all the effort you're putting into trying to help us get rid of the blocks.
Thank you.
I was thinking about that all the time. We need to improve on and pray Krishna to do that, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before we begin, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunniditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadanakam. So, Mother Haridwani, would you like to share with us that what were the highlights for you in yesterday's discussion, or what stood out for you, or what struck you as important or meaningful?
I've been thinking about how to put this nicely, like that. I don't mean it to be challenging at all, but I was actually just wondering what your presentation, your sentence about that it may be these blocks, these emotional blocks, or something from the past, or that we experienced, and then you gave a couple of examples. But I was just wondering what there is to validate that idea from Guru Shastra and Sadhu. Because I really appreciate that, you would be so thoughtful to come up with that. And, of course we can Krishnaize things, and we did that for 2 decades at school. And, I was just thinking, well, Buddha has validation, Krishna says, I'm the healing bird. And then here Krishna Maharaj, he wrote that whole book and did a whole study of empathic listening, nonviolent communication, and I have that book, and so I looked in there, and he had some different quotes, but my question is, I was wondering where that is coming, or what do you have to support that, your idea from Guru Shastra?
Okay, we'll come to that. Mother Colleen?
No, I didn't do my homework. Just one thing sticks out. As you know, there were a few kitties born in the barn. And I fell in love with, did I say this yesterday?
No.
I fell in love with this one. And then I realized, it seems like, a long time since I felt that much, I hate to say desire, but I really wanted to take him home. Of course, we can't have this. But I realized that, in a lot of ways, I've shut down emotionally. And it's everything's in the mood. I don't know if I'm on topic or not, but I just thought this is what it means to love Krishna 24 hours a day, because unfortunately all I can do is think about this cat. And I wonder why I'm so void of making some kind of, it's not making any sense, I'm sorry, commitment or, I'm sorry, I'm not making any sense, that's all I'm saying.
That's all right. We're just sharing whatever is going on within you, and that's okay.
You have to, you really have to try to love Krishna. But I'm going to quit. Maybe we'll get clearer in my mind. I thought it was screwing
Okay. Right, thank you. Nazma Lakshmi?
I just would say it's reminding us that we should have that strong faith in the holy name, the pure chanting. Our faith would be more stronger.
Okay. Thank you. Mother Maharani.
I don't know what the exam was. I mean, what did you say?
What the topic was?
No, what did you ask people to do?
Oh, I was just saying, what were highlights for you, or what struck you as important or meaningful or useful of the discussion we had yesterday?
No, I got that, but did you send people with some, what is that word?
Homework.
Homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What is the homework?
Well, the homework was I'll give it to you. I wanted you to read 2 different sheets. One is Srila Prabhupada's famous lecture on chanting Hare Krishna, and the other was an excerpt from my Guru Maharaj's lecture that I gave out to everyone, but I'll give it to you.
Okay,
No problem.
I got that one. I'll do the exam today or something.
So cute.
I didn't know. I really appreciate it and thank you for doing it because I liked it very much. I'm like here, you know. And what I got out of it is that I'm always, what's the word? I'm always diverted because I do so many different things. But I have to always keep in mind of chanting Hare Krishna, looking for Hare Krishna music. So I did that yesterday and I wanted to play a really nice Hare Krishna mantra in the store. It was always my goal, but I could never find it. But Krishna was so kind. I was searching this morning. I found a really nice one on YouTube and it was going for a long time. So I learned that I want to play that in the store. So just like that. And I also have a small tape of Srila Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna. I always play that first when I wake up. But sometimes I forget. So I have to strictly keep doing that and try to chant proper rounds. That's what I got out of all that yesterday.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So we'll come back to Gokul Ranjan Prabhu because you were actually next, but you were not in your seat, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So my question to you was, what was important or meaningful, or what struck you as useful out of the discussion we had yesterday?
Two things. Let's start with, well, there's something Mother Hardwani said that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she said not having enough faith in the holy name. And I thought about that because, as Mother Maharani was saying, that get distraction. So there's actually a correlation between that, because sometimes, you know, I think that, at least for myself, the reverence for the holy name and that meditation of 16 rounds, it should be a very reverential moment. And instead of something that just becomes a rote kind of mechanical thing. And sometimes I think what both of them were saying also is that, you know, maybe my plans, or maybe, you know, my making plans during that time, those plans are more important. I can figure out something here now, or I can hear something from this person, some lecture, and be distracted like that, or I can go over some other issues in my mind. But the fact is that if I just surrender to the sound, vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, I'm actually having darshan. I'm in the presence of the Lord.
Yes.
He's actually right there. And He's the source of all knowledge, all, you know, peace, security, everything. And so that was the one thing, that having more appreciation and a reverential mood, that everything comes from Krishna. All of our knowledge, all of our realizations, all of our strengths, all of our good qualities come from Krishna. And the other thing is when I reread this, I hadn't read this in a while, there's a line in here that I always loved. And it's, I don't see it right now, but, oh yes, Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. And it's not an artificial, this is not something, this is who we are. I've always loved that line from Prabhupada, and this consciousness is the original natural energy of living entity. And so I appreciate the fact that I got to be reminded of that line.
Thank you. Ashtika Prabhu?
Thank you for such a nice seminar. I thought yesterday's session we discussed about the different anarthas we have, and today I'm looking for the nibritis, you know, the solution, so I'm excited.
Okay. Thank you. Jugendra Prabhu?
I was only able to participate last 20 minutes, so I was getting the homework. So, but I just gathered with a little bit more enthusiasm for chanting the Mahamantra and listening to all the other nice things these devotees have said. So that was very helpful.
Okay, thank you. So thank you all for your participation. Mother Maharashmi was not there yesterday, so maybe we'll just give her a quick run-up about what we did yesterday and then bring you up to speed, and then I will address Mother Haridani's question. So Mother Maharashmi, yesterday we spoke about how we can remove the blocks by Krishna's mercy and get closer to Krishna, get closer to who we really are. We are loving, eternal spirit souls, and our loving interactions with the Lord and with each other is the source of really, feeling satisfied and happy even while in this material world. And there are things that block us, and we were talking about those things that may have, caused us to block our loving relationship with Krishna and how to remove those. So we did a little discussion, and then I handed out some homework which I can give it to you later on. And today we'll be talking about removing those blocks, or at least attempting to remove those blocks. And we also talked about how these things affect us. What has happened to us. Of course, we don't know what has happened to us for trillions of lifetimes. We only have some knowledge of this lifetime. But our soul has taken birth in a particular family, in a particular situation, in a particular country to learn some lessons. And if we don't learn those lessons, then we are forced to repeat those lessons. For example, we may be born in a dysfunctional family. We may have chaotic upbringing. We may have had abuse. We may have been cheated, or we may have been betrayed, or we may have been abandoned. And all those leave us with wounds, with scars. I mean, we continue to live because we are still here, we are still alive. But whatever has happened to us as children, even maybe in the womb, those things, unless we have an awareness of how they are affecting us today, we might just carry on certain patterns of behavior which have been handed down to us for generations, and we may not even be aware of it. So this is a humble attempt to somehow bring some certain things to light so that we can get past. And talking of Mother Haridwani's question, which is a very good question. Whenever I do my seminars, this question does come up. What is this? This is psychobabble? The psychology stuff? We don't need all this stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm just explaining how some people, can react like that. And I tell them this seminar comes under the category of anartha nivritti. We want to remove anarthas, we want to remove those weeds which are blocking our progress in spiritual life. And I won't be able to give you the exact Shastric quote, but there is my instruction from my Guru Maharaj, who has encouraged me to do this work, and he said, your work will help people to get back onto their feet and chant Hare Krishna nicely. So I've just taken that instruction as my, guiding instruction. But there are also loving exchanges in the nectar of instruction, where we have confidential exchanges between one another. We open our heart confidentially and we receive confidentially what another person is sharing. Now, we don't have so much of this right now. In ISKCON, we are still at that point where we're building the socio-cultural fabric. We don't have so much support systems in place so that people can have that emotional support that they need, especially when they're going through crises, when they're going through tough experiences. The traditional joint family system which sustained an individual is no longer there. And now we are coming together to build that family of Srila Prabhupada. So we are just at the beginning stages, of all those things. So I will have to do some more research, because this is a good question. But I'm just resting on the instructions of my Guru Maharaj, and also that we give gifts, we receive gifts. We offer prasadam, we receive prasadam. But in the area of confidentially opening our hearts and also being safe people that others can open up their hearts to us is a real challenge for us in this day and age especially. So that's how this work began. All right, you're welcome. here. So what are the important words that really reached home to you from what Prabhupada spoke on that lecture, from that lecture?
Well,
Mother Krishna?
I've already said mine.
Yes, you did say
I
yours.
didn't
Thank you.
realize-
Thank you.
I thought that's where I was at.
Yes, that's all right. That's okay. Nice to be eager. Mother Krishna?
I just took it as the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a very important aspect in our lives. So I researched that, and I found that it was in the back of the Srinamamrita Nectar of the Holy Name by Srila Prabhupada. It says, these 16 names composed of 32 syllables are the only means of counteracting the evil effects of the Kali Yuga. After searching through all Vedic literature, one can't find a method of religion for this age so sublime as the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And then the other one I found was, that was from the Kali Sankarana Upanishad. And Srimad Bhagavatam 12, 3, 51, 52. The most important factor in this age of Kali, which is an ocean of faults, is that one can be free from all contamination and eligible to enter the kingdom of God simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The self-realization that was achieved in Satyam meditation, straight to performance of different sacrifices, walk or worship before Krishna, can be achieved in the age of Kali simply by chanting the holy name Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
And for the one that your spiritual master written, I found this nice quote, and it had to do when Prabhupada was in LA, and he was asking all the boys, "Are you happy chanting Hare Krishna? Is everyone happy?" And then they were all saying, "Yes, Prabhupada, I really love chanting Hare Krishna." But then after that, it was just from Prabhupada Leela opening a temple in LA. I have one request. Whatever happiness you have felt, you simply tell someone about that. That is all you have to do. You don't need to teach anything. You don't need to teach the philosophy. You just explain to people that because you chant Hare Krishna, you have become happy. And if they chant, they will become happy. Then I will be satisfied and my spiritual master will be satisfied. And for my own example, I can see, I don't do it now, but when I did have Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and I gave that opportunity, you know too, when you're out in Harinam and you tell these people, "Oh, I've been chanting for so many years and it's made me happy. I would like you to try it, see if it won't make you happy." A lot of people say, "Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to make me happy." So I see that. And you try it all.
Okay. Thank you. Mother Kalimani?
I just underlined what Prabhupada said. Of course, for one who is too entangled in material life, it takes a little more time to come to the standard point. But even such a mentality, even such a materially engrossed person is raised to the spiritual platform very quickly. So that made me feel so hopeful.
Of course.
Because how entangled and dysfunctional I am, that I still have a chance to achieve the goal.
Good Mata, if you say that about yourself, we haven't even begun yet.
Just by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and Srila.
True.
And then what your Guru Maharaj said, it's not like God's consciousness interferes with your day-to-day activities in this world. It enhances them. It brings it to a higher stage. That was so yes, because that's what, I have to chant. What time is it? Well, I'm going to be chanting. I'm going to chant prayer. I'm going to chant 2 more rounds, and then I'm going to look at Facebook. I'm going to, whatever it is. Maharaj says, it enhances our day-to-day activities.
Right.
So that was really significant.
Right.
Jai Chandramani Swami.
Ki Jai. And I'm going to hand out. Tulsi Manjari, would you like to give this paper to Mahalakshmi Mataji because she didn't receive it yesterday? So maybe you can just give it to her, please, for me. One is on chanting Hare Krishna, and another is this lecture. So, Colleen, would you like to share anything of yesterday's homework? Thank you.
I need one.
Right here.
Oh,
You're saying,
Forgot.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah. Here you go. Hare Krishna. And Tulsi Manjari, would you please give this to Mother Maharani also? One is this lecture and one is on chanting Hare Krishna. But it looks like that, let me get you the one which has the printout. Unfortunately, only the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is there and the lecture is not there, but I'll get that to you. Just give this to Maharani Mataji, please. Thank you. Yes. That's okay. That's all right. Nasma Lakshmi?
Well, the main thing, what I remember from the reading, Prabhupada is saying that it is the natural state. That's the main thing.
To be happy, yeah, joyful state.
And chanting the holy name. It's nothing, something artificial. It is natural state of
For the soul.
being of the soul.
Ashtika Prabhu, you did your homework, you got some time? Oh, good. Thank you.
So, the Prabhupada's on chanting Hare Krishna that you gave, there is an abbreviated version that Prabhupada actually spoke and recorded. So, I used to play that on all my prison programs after doing the kirtan. That was the daily routine. And also, the Prabhupada says this is not an artificial imposition on mind, has been the main thing on that. And then Prabhupada also says there that, even a dog can chant,
Right.
It's for everyone and anyone. And then your Guru Maharaj's article, so he basically is pointing out that everything is in your heart, you don't have to look outside for that. So that's the main thing he came over and over again on most of the paragraphs, I think. So that also, struck me that,
Whatever you're looking for is actually inside. Okay, thank you. Yogendra Prabhu, did you get a chance to read over the papers?
No, I said I didn't do my homework.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, please.
Just as Sika just said that too, and I was just like, when I looked over at this, everything you're looking for in your life is in your own heart. Is right there, and I was just thinking that's just so beautiful that, to really come to that understanding and that realization that it's not here, there, and anywhere, it's just right within us.
Right.
And one thing, and then another thing that Maharaj wrote at the very bottom, the whole purpose of life is to become happy. And in my studies that I did with massage therapy and energy work and things, they had this chart where they were reading infrared or whatever it is, the different lights that light up in the body. And so they were going through all these different emotions. And they were showing what that emotion did to the body. And like sad, it would become very blue. The energy would become cold inside. And love was right in the torso and the head. But happiness was the only one that went through the entire body.
Haribo! Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So,
Can I just,
yes.
No, I like this point about, I know it wasn't meant to mean psychobabble, but, that kind of, in other words, the whole Bhagavad Gita and many instructions in the Bhagavatam, if you study them, Krishna is telling Arjuna a self-analysis that devotional service influenced by material nature looks like this. Charity done in this way is influenced by the mode of ignorance and gets this result. So charity given for this motive is charity in passion and it gets this result. Charity in goodness gets this result. And this is what it looks like. And then there's sattva, Shuddha sattva, which is transcendental. Kapila explains devotional service according to mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, and then pure transcendental. So this is actually in our mind. This is this kind of self-reflection. Prabhupada wanted us sometimes to write down. At least I was told this by my first real authority, was Rupanuga Prabhu, and he said that we should write for at least a half an hour every day. Prabhupada thought that way you when you write you think more concentrated and you choose your words more carefully. So then when you speak with more clarity. And that means you're reflecting. And also, Prabhupada would want us to write down the 26 qualities.
Wow.
Like once a week.
Sure,
I know
once a week.
Yeah, and then those qualities you couldn't remember, those are the ones you should meditate on.
Meditate on.
And right now, the only one I can think of really is poetic. So the rest of them I'm pretty vague on.
Okay. Yes, because our real nature is to be kind and loving and caring and considerate and thoughtful and helpful and nurturing and empathic and all those things, because those are the loving qualities of the soul. But what happens is, because we are of course covered over, and because, as we are going to talk about this specifically, I'm zoning in on this one, because of the blocks that we have had due to our experiences, it's hard for us sometimes to access our higher nature. We tend to slip into patterns of behavior that have been ingrained in us. For example, a couple have a fight. Next thing you know, she takes all the credit cards and goes on a shopping binge. Why? Because that emotional hurt is satisfied by going on a shopping spree. She may not even be consciously aware of what she is doing. Food, money and food are very closely related to our emotional states. Sometimes, because food is the first thing that the child gets from the mother, we tend to equate food with comfort. So many times when we are stressed or when we are sad or when we are anxious, we are going to reach out for the bag of chips and wolf it down. Eating disorders begin with these kind of problems. Similarly, supposing I have been feeling bad all day about something, and some Prabhu or Mataji comes along and says, can you do it? No, I cannot do it. I'm very stressed. Our first instinct is to lash out at that person. Not because that person has done anything, it's because of my state of mind. Whatever has happened to me has affected me, and so I'm reacting like that. Like this, there are so many things. We are not even conscious. So that's why I drew on the board. Maybe it's time for me to. Now Krishna Shraya Prabhu suggested, Mataji, please give out paper and pen so that people can write down the points that they consider significant. So Tulsi Manjari, I've got papers for everybody. Would you be so kind as to hand out paper? And I have pens also, in case you need to write down. You will see that this paper is divided into two. So one is for you, notes, and inside is feedback from the seminar. So you will be tearing it in half and giving me the other half back. So hand over these to everyone.
She didn't say no.
She's a sweet girl. Okay.
So second first? No.
Yeah, so we are going to now move into something a little deeper. How do I do this?
Yeah, I need a pen.
Can you help me, Ashton?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll give you a pen and
I mean, give me a right now, it's on video now.
Oh, that's
Huh?
true, yeah.
yeah, but this is for you. If you want to write down something personal, you're welcome. If you don't want to write down, that's fine too. But Krishna Ashraya Prabhu suggested that Mataji, please make it that if people want to write down something, then they can do so. So I said yes. Vaishnav's suggestion is my command.
Where is he?
Oh, I don't know.
He told us what to do and he's not here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Here's a pen for you, Prabhu. Okay, I know you. Okay, we got pen.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, the teachers are ready. Okay.
Sridevi, I want to say one thing because my time is limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
After just reading this a little bit, I just have one realization,
Uh-huh.
I mean, this about chanting, it's for me, because I don't chant properly. My rounds are horrible. I try to chant. So I'm not so 100%. I know I have faith it works and all that, but I'm not doing it correctly. So it blocks me from telling others because I see people come to distress every day. Oh, this problem, that problem, this, that. I should be telling them, are you chanting your own? I couldn't do that because I'm not doing it right. So if I have to do it properly, then I can tell them if I'm enjoying the bliss and remembering. So it's so important. That's why Srila Prabhupada was like very potent because he practiced what he preaches. So anyone who's saying all these things are doing, they have to do it. You just can't just tell people and you are not doing it.
Right.
And for me, I cannot be like that. I have to do it right.
So honest.
It has to be,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing your realization. Thank you for sharing your vulnerabilities because that's one of the things that we are going to get out of this. How we can support each other, how we can help each other, how we can encourage each other because that's what this process is about. We are all in this together. And Srila Prabhupada has built a house in which the whole world can live. So our relationships are the only fortune we have in Krishna consciousness. All we have is each other. This is all we have. So our encouragement, our uplifting each other. When I am down, you pick me up and bring me up to God. When you're down, I'm there to help you back. This is how we are going to walk together back home. Otherwise, it's not possible. We cannot be lone rangers and hope to survive against Maya. It's not possible. It's like people going into battle. The soldier doesn't go alone. He is surrounded with all his comrades. There's a commander and everybody works together. So we cannot afford to try to be alone in this because Maya will always be ready to pick out that, lone sheep or wolf, lamb. So we have to work together to enhance each other's Krishna consciousness. There's no other way to do it. Okay. So let's look at the blocks that are preventing us, which are actually, anger is mode of passion. Fear is the tamasic mode of ignorance. But these are the things which prevent us from being our best in loving Krishna and loving each other. So what are the triggers for these things? They might go back to who knows how many lifetimes, but just to give you an example. We may have fear of authority because we have come from a very, very controlling and dominating household. We may even, or on the other hand, we may become rebellious of authority because we are like, I'm not listening to you because I had to listen to my parents all my life or whoever my authority figures are. We may also have such a chaotic upbringing that now we find we are so anxious and we want to control. We want to micromanage everything. We have to know everything. We have to be, on top of everything. We can't relax ever because we have appointed ourselves as general manager of the universe and we are convinced everything is going to fall apart unless I know everything. So, this is speaking of myself. To be honest, I'm really talking about me here. So, our anarthas, our blocks, prevent us from interacting nicely, and more important, they keep us in for our own selves. We are in a constant state of anxiety or despair or fear or worry or tension or so much depends on me, like I'm the person in control of everything, and if I don't do it right, everything will fall apart. These things happen to us because of whatever we have experienced. We may have experienced abandonment. That's really very heavy because now it's a small child who experienced abandonment and they have been pushed into the role of an adult very quickly. That child has never had a childhood. They cannot feel joy because who was there to help them reach that childlike person inside of them? You know, they cannot be lighthearted, they cannot be playful, they cannot be joyful. It's all about work or, you know, my routine or my schedules or my commitments or my priorities. So you see all these things, how they affect us. I'm just giving you a very brief idea because we are short on time. But these are the things that block us from actually becoming calm, serene, joyful, relaxed, peaceful, happy, content, to leave it to Krishna, because he is in control, not me. Actually, when we give up control, we have more control, because we're controlling ourselves and not controlling anything else, you know. So, the first thing we have to do when we want to overcome these things is to become aware. Acknowledgement. We have to acknowledge that somewhere along the way, we have had these wounds. If we don't even acknowledge them, how can we address them? So whatever they may be, and this is for you and me personally to look into it. We are not going to go into discussion about it at this point because one, it's not appropriate. Second, this is for you personally. So you can write down whatever you think is important that you need to work on. And we will go to the emotional awareness. Many of us are not even aware of what is triggering us. We carry on without knowing many times what is it that's going on that makes me behave in a certain way, because you know we've just not done it. So the first step towards addressing our blocks is to become emotionally aware. What is going on within me that is making me speak like this or think like this or talk like this or behave like this? What is the trigger? You know, this person may be saying something very innocent, but my reaction will tell me that this person is triggering me in this way by what he said or what she said. And those triggers are because of what is going on in my heart. So emotional awareness. Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling insecure? Am I feeling jealous? Am I feeling envious? Am I feeling deserted, abandoned, betrayed, cheated, disappointed, whatever it may be? We have to first name our emotions. We have to first become aware of what is it that is making us behave, which means we must first get in touch with our emotions. Many of us are not even aware. Many times it happens to us that we just carry on automatic pilot and we are not aware. So emotional awareness. Most of us are just at this level, and there's a whole bunch of things going on that we are not aware of. But you know what? Krishna's holy name can change everything. Krishna's holy name is Krishna. He can obliterate everything. All the wounds, all the scars, all the sorrow, all the pain, all the feelings of abandonment and desertion and this and that and guilt and shame and worry and death, everything. The key is to chant the holy name. And when you chant the holy name, you get a better handle of these blocks. As you remove the blocks, you chant better. So it's a wonderful process where you're getting more and more clear of these blocks. So we don't want to focus on the blocks so much as the holy name. As we chant more, these blocks will get clear. Krishna can do anything, and he cares about us. He cares about every silly little thing about us. We may think it is such a small thing, but Krishna, being a loving divine father, he cares about everything. I'll just give you a small example because I wanted to share with you how much I was racked with worry about my parents. Oh my God, what's going to happen to them? They're old, they're not chanting. What's going to be their next birth? God knows what kind of body they'll get. What can I do to get them to chant? What can I do day and night? And I was praying, of course, about it. And one fine day in Zagreb temple during Nashigadeva Arati, Lord Nashigadev gave me this vision. He said, don't worry. I will take them both back home, back to me at the end of their lives. And he gave me this vision. I saw his beautiful lotus hands with those long nails and my two parents sitting in his hands like two little toys. From that day, I quit worrying. And that much energy was now opened up to serve devotees rather than sitting in tension worrying about my parents. So Krishna cares about every little thing. We can take every single thing to Krishna and say, please help me with my suitcase. I pray to Krishna, help me with my suitcase. And Narasimha Lakshmi said, here, I have an old suitcase. I don't really need it. If you want, you can take it. You don't have to give it back. So Krishna cares about that pimple on your nose. Krishna cares about your mortgage. Krishna cares about your fractured arm. He cares about your migraine headaches. He cares about everything. We do not understand how much Krishna truly loves us. We don't understand that. And when we take it to Krishna, Krishna will solve that problem. You can enjoy your life while Krishna is solving your problems, provided you surrender it to him. But we don't. We think we have to fix it, we have to do it, we know the answer to it, and so on. So the first thing is to become aware of what is going on within us, and then offering that to Krishna, whatever it may be, and saying, Krishna, please help. And he will send the healing herb in the form of Dibuja's herbs. He will send the right people who will help us through that problem or that difficulty. He will send whatever it is that is needed to ameliorate the situation, so that you can progress in your Krishna consciousness. You can do your service better. You can interact better with people. You can be more at peace with yourself, firstly, before doing anything else. Right? So, we are going to talk about, we finished talking about becoming emotionally aware, and then asking Krishna to heal us from whatever it is that is troubling us in the present, which is coming from the past. Is everybody okay so far? Any questions? I'm going to give you a minute to think about anything you might want to ask before we move to the next one, which is forgiveness, which is very, very important. Any questions, comments?
I'm really enjoying it. Thank you so much.
I'm enjoying it too. Thank you for giving me a
How
chance.
do you explain then, there's a line from Bhaktivinoda, one very famous poem, and one line is, forget the past that sleeps, never the future dream at all, at active times that our feet, progress ye shall call.
Very good, very good. Yes, forget the past. But are we able to forget the past?
No.
Because we are not able to forget the past, we have to do this. Then we'll be able to forget the past. We will be able to keep the past in the past.
But we also want to remember, we want to remember Prabhupada's activities, we want to remember Krishna's pastimes. So there is looking at those things, or remembering our devotion. So at the time of our exiting this material plane, hopefully we're thinking of, did I chant my rounds today? Did I do my service? Like when I used to do this service. So those things will fill you up, won't they?
Of course, we want to remember all the wonderful things of the past. It's not like we want to chuck the baby out with the bathwater. We are only talking about those things which are imprisoning us in the present.
Yes.
Those things which are limiting us, those things which have us in bondage, those things which are not freeing us. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So we want to be free. We want to be free to love Krishna more. We want to be accessing more of our higher self. We want to be more available to devotees. We want to be more present in our service to Krishna. We want to bring everything to a higher level. We want to be our best. Isn't it? So our attempt in doing this is not to just discard everything, but to only address those things that are still festering, that are still causing. Because once it's dealt with, healing takes place and it's over. You're no longer going back again and again and again. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Believe me, if we do not do the work of forgiveness, we will be trapped 25, 30 years. I know one mother who is now having teenage children. She was harassed by her mother-in-law. This is the Indian setting where the mother-in-laws are sometimes very tough.
It's not just India.
Not just Indian, yeah. I'm talking about this happened in an Indian setting. And 25 years later, she still is hurting from what her mother-in-law did to her. She's not able to chant her rounds very nicely because every time she sits down to chant, somehow she is reminded about what happened to her, and she puts her beads aside and starts off, fussing at her husband, fussing at the children, and he keeps trying to tell her, take this chanting. Oh, what do you know what I went through? What do you know what I went through? What do you know what I went through? And she brings it up again and again, and he keeps trying to tell her, no, you should chant, no, you should chant, no, you should chant. And it's not getting anywhere. You see, we are stuck in this cycle. So when I say focus on the past, it doesn't mean you become obsessed, but it doesn't mean we ignore it either. We address those things so that we can move forward in our devotional self. Is that helpful?
Yes.
I hope that's clear about what I've explained.
Yeah, because Prabhupada told one devotee when he had that fall down, he said, failure is the pillar to success.
Yes.
And so now you should meditate on what caused this problem, and then you should become stronger in your preaching. And I don't know if Prabhupada used the example, but another devotee saying, if you break a bone, the body, when it mends itself, that part of the bone is stronger than it was before. So Prabhupada said to this devotee, you should be able to preach more vigorously now because you understand what caused that.
Right.
And you can not only help yourself, but help others.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, when we do this work, we are actually able to help others. One of my counselees just recently, she told me, because some of the things that I said to her, she said, you did surgery on my heart, Mataji. And she sort of, dropped away from counseling for a little bit. Now she's coming back to counseling and she's saying, but I was always meditating on what you said and it has helped me a great deal and I'm not so needy anymore because I understand Krishna really is the source of all that I need. She was having difficulty, with her expectations and everything. And now she's saying, I said, I'm so glad that I was able to help you and you could understand that what I said was not to hurt you. It was to help you get better. That's my job as a therapist. I have to speak the truth. And sometimes it might be hurtful, but it is only with a motive to get you past whatever it is that is blocking you. That's all. My motive is to help you. And she said, not only you're helping me, you're now helping 20 other people because I'm helping 20 other young people here in my yatra. Wow. So, you see, when we get past it, we can do so much more for Guru and Krishna. Not only we can be at peace with ourselves, we can actually be helpful, kind, loving, and as you said, we become more compassionate and empathic because we have gone through that. And we have come out on the other side, so we are in a position to help that other person because you can say, I know what you feel because I have been there. And I have come out on this side, so you can come out too. So it gives them hope. You see? So it's like a ripple effect. It helps everyone. Okay, so let's go back to what we need to do, and we are at 8:30 now, so please forgive me. I'll just take another 15-20 minutes more. Is that okay? Okay. Forgiveness. We need to go back into that place where we were hurt, whatever it may be, and we need to forgive the people. We need to forgive all that happened during that time to us and ask Krishna to give us clarity about what is it that person was going through themselves to make them hurt me. They must have been so miserable, isn't it, to hurt me, a small child? Or whatever it is, maybe you were beaten up nicely as a child. Maybe you were tossed into a corner and, locked up in a cupboard and you were living in terror for those few hours. Whatever it may be, we need to go back and we need to forgive the people who have wounded us so deeply that we developed fears or phobias or anxieties or worry or tension, and we need to ask Krishna, what is it caused that thing to happen to me? What is it was going on for my parents or my caregivers that they could do this to me? And Krishna will give you the understanding so that you will be able to forgive those who hurt you so much. And when you heal from that, when that numbness is removed, when that pain is removed, you will be freed up to become become more joyful. Because that pain is no longer there, that sadness is no longer there, that hurt is no longer there. That was sucking your energy. You may have been able to function at a very good level, but you will be able to function at a higher level now, because that energy which was going into that area without even your being aware of it is now no longer needed to address that, because you have healed from that. Do you see how important it is? So we may put on a stoic face. We may say, stiff upper lip, I can't do this. I don't need to worry about what happened to me in the past. I am alright. Things happen to people. Everybody doesn't, have to boo-hoo over their past. But then, are you a loving person? Are you kind? Are you an emotionally safe person? Are you reacting to situations and hurting people? That means we still have work to do. If we are still hurting, it means we have work to do on us. Yes, Yogendra Prabhu.
What if it's not always other people? What if it's ourselves that's the problem? That in the past, it wasn't necessarily our parents, it wasn't necessarily some kids in school, or wasn't necessarily. What if we can't? Why do we have to make the object of our problem someone else all the time? Maybe it is for some people or a lot of people. So what if the problem is ourselves?
So could
It's us who keep screwing up. It's us who, develop an addiction. It's us who do this. It's us who do that. It's really not someone else.
Well, the root cause of all these things, addiction, where does it come from? It's a desire to satisfy that longing, that yearning in the heart by getting things, or by going on a shopping spree, or by, acquiring good. Where does that addiction come from? That addiction comes from a feeling of loss or lack. Yes, it is within me, but how did that come about? What happened to cause these things? So when you say it is ourselves, what exactly do you mean when you say that it's not somebody else?
It's me who screwed up.
Right.
Doing something that's a problem, and I can't say it was my mom, or I can't say it was my brother.
Right.
It was me.
Right. Right. I'm not.
Can't that also be a focus? Why does the focus have to be someone else with the problem? Why can't the focus be? I'm asking, can the focus be me, and how do I deal with forgiving
Yourself?
myself?
Yes. Many times we have to do that. We have to forgive ourselves, because we can be our own worst critics. We can be beating ourselves up. Oh, I should have. Oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda syndrome. Oh, I should have done that. Oh, I would. If only I would have done that. Oh, if only this had happened. Oh, if only I had a handle on it. Only if I. But why can't we be kind to ourselves? Why can't we be compassionate towards ourselves? Why can't we be forgiving towards ourselves? Why can't we be loving towards ourselves? If we are not, then again we have to see what is it that's making me so critical and harsh towards my own self. What is making me so judgmental and critical and harsh and punitive towards my own self? Why do I need to beat myself? It's probably a critical parent tape playing inside our head, which is constantly telling us, you messed up, you didn't do good. This comes sometimes when parents are extremely critical of their children or have very, very high expectations, and the child is never able to satisfy. She's never good enough. You got A grade, you should have got A plus. You got the trophy for second runner-up, why not first? Why not the first prize? Why not? So the child internalizes a feeling of shame. The child internalizes a feeling of never being good enough. And she is then programmed to be a high achiever with low self-esteem. Look at me, I'm raising my hand. So you see what happens? You become so hung up on achieving, doing, acquiring, and so on, and you're never good enough because you never received that validation and affirmation that told you that you are lovable for being you. You don't have to do anything, be anything, acquire anything to get my love. This conditional love, many Asian parents, Indian parents, Japanese, Thai, whatever, coming basically from the South Asian continent, we demand a lot from our children. And when they are not delivering or they are not doing right, then we are punitive, we are harsh, we are judgmental, we are critical, and we put them down saying you're not good enough. This is a very damaging thing to children that we do. We have to understand that it is something to do with me if I'm being punitive. It is my self-esteem which is not, in place, that I have to show my child is a runner-up, my child is a topper, my child is to the whole of society. It means I have self-esteem issues. And that is probably coming because my parents treated me. So you see how the generational curse carries on? Because the parents put these expectations, and that's all I know. I'm programmed to be like that towards my child. And she's programmed to be that way towards her child. And so this continues down the line. So we have to really do a lot of introspection in Krishna consciousness to work on ourselves so that we don't even pass on the generational curses. Is that helpful to you, or question? Okay. Anything?
I can't find a way to express and I'm satisfied.
Okay.
But I know there must be something else.
Okay.
Previous lifetimes too.
Yes. Previous lifetime, trillions, millions, zillions of lifetime. Who knows how long we have been in this material world. But you know what? The holy name can crush all our anarthas. The holy name has the power to completely heal you from everything. You don't have to live in bondage. You don't have to live in slavery to the past, whatever it may be. You can just get past all that simply because Krishna has come to take us back home to Him. So the power of the holy name is unbelievable. We cannot even understand it. If we chant our Ram sincerely, genuinely calling out like a child calls to the parent, Krishna will reciprocate. Yes.
I found a way to articulate that black, that feeling that was in me. So what are parents and teachers and elders, what are they supposed to do to discipline? Because children, if they're not disciplined, we just let them be their little selves. They may not develop any character whatsoever.
Very good question.
So how do you discipline?
Very good question. There's a difference between discipline and there's a difference between discipline versus punishment. Discipline teaches, punishment damages. So punishment doesn't teach a child anything except that the parent is big, in control, and he is telling me that I'm wrong. Discipline, on the other hand, points out to a child how to do better. Points out that this is not helpful. This is going to, because as parents we know that this is going to harm them in the long run. If they're selfish, if they're greedy, if they're inconsiderate, if they are thoughtless, if they are, any of those things, it's going to harm them. So when we point out these things and discipline them, we are going to teach them a way to do things better. But on the other hand, punishment simply damages a child and doesn't teach anything. Beating a child, what does that teach the child? It teaches the child that violence is...
Not to do what they're doing.
Well, I know there are some people who say that spanking a child is actually good for the child because, it helps the child to learn not to do something. But at the same time, many parents, and there's a school of thought which says that a parent can spank the child provided it's not done in anger. Now, it's very difficult for a parent not to use violence when they're angry because that's the way we are raised. We have been spanked, we have been beaten, and we know mom is angry, that's why she's doing it. How many parents can calm down, cool down, and then after, half an hour, after deep breathing for 15 minutes, say, okay, now come over here, baby, I need to spank you to discipline you. That doesn't happen. Most of the time, we are beaten in anger. So that's why what it teaches the child, a big person can hit a little person. It teaches the child to be frightened of the parent, and it very, very, very seldom teaches a child self-discipline. They learn to go on and hit other children. Big children hit other little children thinking, okay, I'm going to show this person because this is the way I was treated. So really physically beating a child and all, it really doesn't help a child as compared to disciplining, where you take out privileges, you put them in the corner, you tell them, no, that was not right, and you are going to be paying a consequence for that.
Ooh, it sounds like you just changed punishment to consequence.
Well, that's one way to discipline a child.
Okay.
That's one way to discipline a child.
I think that punishment, you meant abuse.
Yes, I meant something that is harmful and harsh to the child's spirit.
Yeah, this punishment, we all have to be, we're punished in the material world, but abusive treatment is probably what he meant. Maybe that's why he's having a little confusion.
Right, and we don't want to crush a child's spirit. When they do something wrong, the idea is not to crush the child's spirit, to make them feel small, to harm their self-esteem. We have to hate the sin, not the sinner. So we have to tell them what you did was wrong, what you said was wrong, the behavior is wrong. I still love you. You're still lovable. You're not a bad person, because then they internalize feelings of shame and guilt. If we make them feel bad to such an extent that they start feeling small, they're always going to have low self-esteem and feel bad about themselves. That's not what we want. We want them to learn from that experience, and we want them to do better. So that's the difference between discipline and punishment. Okay, so it's 8:40 right now. Yes, so to come back to the point of healing from our wounds, I just spoke about forgiveness, and I want every one of us to just stop and take a minute to look back at maybe we need to forgive someone. We're going to do a little forgiveness exercise, and then we're going to round it up, okay? It's a very mellow, very sweet, very gentle thing. You don't have to fear anything. Let me start off by saying, if you wish to, you can. If you don't want to, you can just be quiet and introspect. Maybe we want to forgive someone. Just maybe it's something that happened very recently. But why I'm doing this is for you to get a handle on what you may need to do in the future to help yourself get better. I want you to take a second or maybe even a minute to just calmly think about someone you wish to forgive for the harm or hurt or pain that they inflicted on you. Just take a second to think about that and visualize that person. And then I want you to repeat these words after me. Let me know when you're ready.
Well,
Any questions?
Yeah. There's different categories of forgiveness for me. And sometimes for me, even though I know there's a quote from Prabhupada that kind of defeats my point, but for me, there's some things that unless someone actually asks for forgiveness, I cannot forgive them.
That's not true. That's not true. And again, let me clarify. You're not excusing them. You're not condoning what they have done. You're not saying what you did was fine with me. Forgiveness sets you free. Forgiveness is for us. Forgiveness helps us get past those feelings of pain and hurt and the desire to get even and to tell that other person down and to teach them a lesson and all that. That's between them and Krishna. Krishna will take care of it. Our job
Maybe I misspoke. What I'm saying is that I don't harbor anger towards them, but I'm not going to let somebody think that what they did was okay. And unless they recognize they've done something that is harmful, not only to themselves but to, say, me, then I will keep my distance from them and not be involved with them. I won't harbor any resentment towards them. So, because there's different types of forgiveness, but to just say, just a sweeping, I forgive you, and then they haven't learned anything from it.
It's not our job to teach others what they need to learn.
but I'm not gonna. But it's not for me to just ignore something that someone has done that's extremely harmful, and they don't recognize it.
Again, it is, I'm not saying you should ignore it. I'm not saying you should get into an abusive situation where it happens again and again. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, it is not our responsibility to get them to see that they're doing wrong.
I know that.
It's not our job to correct them, teach them, chastise them, whatever it is. Because as adults, we are, supposed to learn all these things. But, unless I'm a spiritual master, then it is my responsibility to correct something.
I don't think I'm making myself clear.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The point is that when I think of forgiveness, it's like I'm saying, it's okay, it's all right, you did, it's all right, you can go on. But but if someone hasn't actually realized they've done something wrong, then for me to just act like it's okay, it's all right, that isn't helpful either.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what forgiveness is and what forgiveness is not. Okay, before we go through this. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're telling what you did to me was okay. Forgiveness doesn't mean glossing over it or pretending it never happened. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting the person off the hook saying, it doesn't matter. Or that's not what forgiveness is about. They are still accountable for their deeds, but they are accountable to Krishna, not to me. It's between them and Krishna. Our job is to forgive them so that we become free of the pain of being hooked onto them like that. As long as we don't forgive, we are hooked to that person. We are hooked to what they did. But when we set ourselves free by forgiving them, we become peaceful. We become more available to do whatever we need to do for Krishna. Is that helpful? You're not looking convinced.
Because I don't get hooked to the person. I have the ability to completely free myself from them, and I feel bad for them. But I'm not saying that I feel superior. I know that I need forgiveness, so I want to forgive people.
Right.
But I can't. I find that this kind of we're entering into an area where I feel it causes this kind of sentimentality, and we have to be clear and precise, about what is helpful.
Okay.
Like you said, there's discipline, there's punishment. I know that if someone has really done something, I don't have to do anything. It'll be all worked out. I understand that, and I'm not looking for vengeance. But I can't necessarily say that I want to have anything to do with them.
And that may be fine. You may choose to have nothing to do with them ever again in your life. It doesn't mean you go pally, you're my friend. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you re-establish the relationship at an artificial level, saying, we have got to be, chummy, and not like that. You may choose to never have anything to do with that person again. You may choose to rebuild the relationship. You may choose to just be casual friends, not deep related. Whatever you choose to do is fine. I'm not saying you should. There are no shoulds here. All I'm saying is, as long as we don't forgive, we are bound by the pain. Forgiveness is a weight on my heart. Unforgiveness. Unforgiveness keeps me in that feeling of, you did this to me, you did this to me, you did this to me, and you're so mean, you're so harsh, you're so greedy and selfish and inconsiderate and thoughtless, and you. It keeps the focus on what happened if we don't forgive.
Well, my point is, it's not what it's done to me, what it's done to other people and to themselves.
Well, that can happen because when a person of responsibility, a position, when they do something wrong, it doesn't affect just one person, it affects many people. It affects their disciples, it affects the institution, it affects the movement, it affects our relationships with the rest of the world. Yes. But how? Let me put it another way. How is unforgiveness helping you?
Well, I don't really feel like I'm unforgiving. This is something that I need to, take a better closer look at. I don't know if I'm really getting across with words what my point. But I don't think that my feeling towards them isn't unforgiving. I want to actually, and have, in a sense, forgiven them. Because I don't dwell on it, and I don't, go around talking about it. I just know about it. And I've learned that this is, an area where I need to, approach with a kind of very, it's a toxic situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. So when you're saying that I don't, forgive it, I think I have forgiven it because I don't dwell on it and I don't talk about it.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. No, I'm so sorry to cut you off. But maybe if you could talk to her later because I have to leave. I
Okay.
really want to do that little.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
understand.
No, because I didn't think it was going to go that far.
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
Please, let's just do the thing because I really have to go.
Okay.
I was really deep and ready to do it.
Okay.
What
All
are we
right.
doing?
Yeah. What we are going to do is a simple act of saying, I seek the healing that forgiveness brings.
Oh.
We are doing it for ourselves. So I want you to go deep into that place in your heart where Krishna is with you and pray to the Lord to give you the strength, to give you the ability, to give you the wisdom, and to give you the compassion towards yourself and the other person, and say aloud with me, I seek the healing
I seek the healing
that forgiveness brings.
That
forgiveness brings.
I choose to forgive you
I choose to forgive you
for all the things you did to me
for all the things you did to me
that I did not deserve.
that I did not deserve.
I choose to forgive you
I choose to forgive you
for all the things you did to me
for all the things you did to me
that I did not deserve,
that I did not deserve,
and all the things you didn't do for me
and all the things you did do for me
that I did deserve.
that I did deserve.
I seek the healing that forgiveness brings.
I seek the healing that forgiveness brings.
I forgive you completely with my whole heart,
I forgive you completely with my whole heart,
begging Krishna
begging Krishna
to bring the healing into my heart
bring the healing into my heart,
where that wound is,
where that wound is,
to fill up that wound
to fill up the wound
with His love,
with His love,
with His peace,
with His peace,
with His joy,
with His joy,
and with His compassion.
and with
His compassion.
I now choose to heal myself
Now choose to heal myself
so I can be more loving,
so I can be more loving,
I can be more peaceful,
I can be more peaceful,
I can be more compassionate,
and
I can be more compassionate,
and I can become joyful.
and
I can become joyful.
I accept serenity,
I accept serenity,
peace,
peace,
joyfulness,
joyfulness,
gratitude,
gratitude,
and the love
and the love
that I long for.
that I long for.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. Haribol.
Do you have a copy of that affirmation, Martha?
I can write it down.
I forgot that you were about to do something. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. In seminars, these things happen. And when someone goes deep, it means they have work to do. You see?
Mhm.
The very fact that you're talking so much, it means there's work to do. And you may choose to do this exercise over and over and over again for you to be completely healed of that wound. Because just like a wound, the doctor doesn't put, medicine on it one day. He keeps coming, come back tomorrow for another dressing, come back tomorrow for cleaning that wound and putting the fresh dressing, right? Until that wound is completely healed, he tells you to come again and again until all the treatment is over. So similarly, you may choose to do this exercise on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever it is, however often you need to do. And you will find that slowly you will access joy, you will access peace, you will access serenity, you will access calmness. You will no longer feel the need to dwell on it anymore because you will be free. This works, honestly this works. I'm not saying it, because I'm a therapist, it has helped my clients. So therefore, this is my humble offering to you. You can try it. You can try it and see. And we can talk some more about it. So thank you very much for listening patiently and allowing me to serve you through this seminar. If you have any questions, we can, yes.
Did you compose the prayer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can write it down for you. I would appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to give me feedback. If you see the page on the second page is a little feedback, and that will help me to do a better job actually. So feel free to critique. If you're upset about something, no problem. Let me know. Gopal Ranjan is looking very upset at me. I'm sorry.
I'm not
You're not upset with me? I have to say, please forgive me. So thank you all very much. I would really appreciate your feedback. Please take a few minutes to write down what you think was important, meaningful, useful, helpful, beneficial, and if you think something was not right or not said correctly or it could be done better, I'm very, very open to receiving feedback because I want to do better. So don't hesitate. If you have to do surgery, do it. I'll just get better because of that. So thank you all very much. And a special thanks to Ashtika Prabhu. Let's give him a big hand. Haribol! Thank you, Ashtika Prabhu. I really appreciate your service and your magnanimous offer to give up your day so that I could do this seminar.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. And please forgive me if I have said or done anything that has been unpleasant or hurtful. I humbly request you to forgive me. I am also just learning. I am in the shower. I am the toddler who is trying to grow up now. So please be kind and forgive me and pray for me, pray for my husband, pray for my child, pray for all living entities to do better in Krishna consciousness. Thank you. Thank you.